Wednesday, July 8, 2026. You are listening to the Daily Dose Sports Podcast, and I am your host, Clint Daly, coming to you from the Mile High City here in Denver, Colorado, and we are back for another week of talking sports with a dose of common sense. Hey, happy Wednesday to you. I hope your week is going well. I hope you, your family, your friends, everyone in your world is staying strong and healthy right now. And I hope you had a safe and happy 4th of July weekend, and that you are back to work this week with all 10 fingers and all 10 toes intact. And we are now down to, the Elite Eight in the 2026 World Cup tournament? Is it the Elite Eight? What is it? Quarters? Big Rob, what is it? Quarters? Okay, he says quarters. We are now down to the quarterfinals in the 2026 World Cup tournament. Like I said, I don't think they call it the Elite Eight over there. Tomorrow, on Thursday, we get a decent matchup as France, who has kind of looked like maybe they might be the best team in this tournament. Hey, Kylian Mbappe might be the best scorer in the world right now. They will be squaring off against Morocco, who hasn't looked quite as strong, but they are capable of scoring goals at times. Don't forget, they did do some things against Brazil earlier in this tournament, but France has not really been pressed yet. I want to see what they do when they're actually pressured. There's no way Morocco could bother them, right? I think France will advance to the Final Four. Is it the Final Four, Big Rob? No? It's the semifinals? Is that what we call it? I don't know. Whatever. On Friday, we get a game that I am looking forward to, as Spain, who scraped out a win over Portugal and sent Cristiano Ronaldo home for good, is going to be facing a very dangerous Belgium team that defeated the United States on Monday night. And yes, that was disappointing. The U.S. went out in this version of Monday Night Football, and their defense looked, like the Dallas Cowboys, and their goaltender looked like, Andy Dalton. But that's okay. No one expected us to get this far except for Big Rob, who predicted exactly how far we would get a few weeks ago, and he nailed it. I think Spain's defense can be a problem here, and I think Belgium may have expended a little too much energy in beating a U.S. team that was clearly not ready for prime time just yet. Probably got a little more excited than it should have. I'm going to take Spain to grind out a close win here. On Saturday afternoon, we get the game I'm looking forward to the most in this round of 8, as England, who pulled off maybe the most impressive win of the tournament on Sunday when they went to Mexico City and beat Mexico in front of a stadium packed full of crazy fans, and they did it for most of the second half while playing shorthanded. Hey, Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham have been really impressive. Goalie Jordan Pickford was amazing in the win over Mexico, and then they will be facing Norway. And Norway had to beat a way more skilled Brazil team to get here. But Norway just outsizes and outphysicals you. Erling Haaland is just bigger and stronger than everyone, and he just blasts goals past people and throws people around like rag dolls. There's no way Norway can do it again, right? I'll pick England here. But I'll be honest, I'm cheering for Norway. Finally, on Saturday night, we will get Argentina, who had to come back from being down 0-2 to Egypt near the 80th minute. But then Lionel Messi provides an assist and a goal, and suddenly Argentina comes back. They hit a game winner during additional time. Argentina is that defending champion, and they don't seem to want to go away. Also, I know I've heard a few people saying this game was fixed, and most of them were obviously Egyptian fans and maybe, Trevor Noah. But here's a question I have. Was it fixed when it was 2-0? Or did they just dial up the fix late? Because if you're going to fix it, you can't not fix it for 80 minutes and then be like, oh, hey, they're coming back. Let's fix it. That doesn't really work that way, does it? I don't know. Argentina moves on, and they will be facing Switzerland, who had to get past a pesky Colombia team by way of penalty kicks. Hey, Switzerland's defense was impressive. I am going to pick Argentina to keep winning, and I'll pick them to win here over Switzerland. Until proven otherwise, I'll have to stick with Argentina. If things went according to my picks, we would have France versus Spain and then England versus Argentina in the Final Four, or the semifinals, as they say. But honestly, I'd be glad to be wrong about any of these picks. Hey, I realize there are those, especially here in the States, that will never watch soccer no matter what. This tournament has been highly entertaining. I've been entertained nonstop. I've been watching nonstop. And there have been 4 to 5 games that have been instant classics. This tournament has been really fun, whether you like soccer or not. It has been entertaining. Hey, today on The Dose, we are now just past the halfway mark in Major League Baseball. And we're actually going to be releasing our very first MLB power rankings of the season so far. Because let's face it, what happens in Major League Baseball before July 4th? I mean, it kind of doesn't really matter. Every year, we see some surprising team that starts off the regular season really hot, but then they fade. Well, now we've given it enough time for those weird little blips to take care of themselves. So who are the actual top teams this year in Major League Baseball? We're going to give you our top 5. We will also have a Daily Dose top 5 for you today. We saw a big trade take place in the NBA last week, and it was a little odd. Our Daily Dose top 5, we'll take a look at some other odd trades, if you will. Going to get to that in just a few minutes. But first, let's jump into that trade that took place in the NBA. Because Jaylen Brown has a new home, as the Boston Celtics agreed to send the former NBA Finals MVP to the Philadelphia 76ers in a huge trade. The Sixers are sending Paul George 2 first-round picks in 2028 and 2031, and then 2 second-round selections in 2028 and 2030 to Boston to finish up that deal. Now, Brown's future in Boston had been in question over the last few weeks because they say the Celtics were attempting to trade him, plus a few picks, to the Milwaukee Bucks for Giannis Antetokounmpo, but Milwaukee instead agreed to a trade with Miami. Now, Brown's going to turn 30 this October, and he leaves Boston as a 5-time All-Star, as well as the 2024 Eastern Conference Finals and NBA Finals MVP, as he helped the Celtics win their 18th title. He's actually coming off the best season of his career. He finished 6th in MVP voting this past year. He was a second-team All-NBA selection. He led the Celtics to a 56-win season. Jaylen Brown this past year averaged 28.7 points, 6.9 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. I mean, those are all career highs. This kid's one of the top two-way forwards in the league, and he had partnered with his teammate Jason Tatum, and they had made Boston a contender for the past 6, 7, 8 years since being taken out of Cal back in 2016. His 142 playoff games since entering the NBA are the most of any player over that span, but now he is gone. He is in Philly, where he will join Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, and a 76ers team that just knocked Boston out of the playoffs in the opening round this past season. And I know that they say Jaylen Brown never requested a trade, but why else would you make this dumb deal? So here's what I'm assuming. Here's my guess. My guess is that Boston felt this bridge had been burnt to the ground when they were shopping Jaylen Brown in that Giannis deal. And then with that bridge as burned as it was, they were like, well, we don't want to pay him. Now he's mad at us. Now there's hurt feelings. Oh, and by the way, he's owed $56 million. We're not giving him that. You know what? Let's just send him somewhere else. And you might be sitting there and you might be thinking, hey, this deal really isn't that bad for Boston. Because, Boston did get Paul George. That is at least something. Okay, but here is a quick test that I want you to take right now. You can take this at home, in your car, wherever you are. Quick, name one person who likes Paul George whose name isn't Paul George. Yeah, you see what I'm saying here. This isn't a great deal for the Celtics. Gotta be honest. With what Boston just did not too long ago with Mookie Betts, the city of Boston is kind of getting fleeced in a lot of deals lately. One more bit of NBA offseason news to talk about, and that is, of course, that LeBron James notified the Los Angeles Lakers last week that he is going to take his toys and go somewhere else to play with them. And the rumors have just been flying around. I mean, LeBron is going to go to Golden State. He wants to play with Steph. LeBron is going to go back to Cleveland to finish his career at home. LeBron is going to go back to Miami to join Giannis and, I don't know, make like an AARP team. LeBron is going to come to Denver. He wants to play with Nikola Jokic. LeBron is staying in Los Angeles, but he's going to go join the Clippers. LeBron is going to Minnesota. I don't know. He wants to help LaMelo Ball win a title. I have no idea. We've heard them all. But let me lob out a theory, because I think I know where LeBron's going. I think I know what LeBron is going to do. Keep in mind, LeBron James is now 41 years old. He will turn 42 this December. But let's be honest, we all know how LeBron is. We know his personality. We know, like, he's not going to quietly retire and just sneak away from the game. He isn't just going to announce what team he's going to go to and sign with them quickly and quietly, because LeBron, well, he likes himself some LeBron. He wants all the flowers. He wants all the recognition. He wants all the parades. He wants to host a big night of where am I going? We all remember I'm taking my talents to South Beach. Well, right now, the sports media world is trying to figure out where in the world is LeBron James going. But hear me out. What if LeBron doesn't pick a team? What if he doesn't name a team? What if he just keeps the speculation going while he watches the season play out from, I don't know, say the golf course, and he just sits out? And he just waits, and he gauges which team has the best chance to win a title, and then, I don't know, say after the All-Star game in February, he's like, well, who's up front? Because we know he likes to run up front. I'm not saying he's a front runner. Okay, maybe I am. But he saves the mileage on his body, and then he handpicks a team in February that he thinks can win it all. Plus, he keeps all the attention on him all this time. Now, be honest. Doesn't that sound like the most LeBron thing ever? So the 2026 Major League Baseball season is now just past the halfway point. And do you realize next Monday night will already be the 2026 MLB All-Star Game? But hey, we know. The Major League Baseball season is nothing if not long. Well, we have now kind of let the dust settle on the season. And a few teams that started hot have kind of come back to earth. And a few of the more talented teams that started slow have now started to hit their stride. Okay, so who are the top 5 teams in Major League Baseball right now? Here are our Daily Dose Power Rankings as of right now going into the All-Star weekend. Let's start off with the number 5 team. You know, the National League East, it looks like it's going to be a highly competitive division all season. And while our number 5 team does have a few concerning holes that need to be addressed, hey, they still have some major strengths. Yes, we know right field is a problem. Yes, their bullpen can be concerning at times. And I fully expect this team to try to be highly active at the trade deadline and see if they can't shore up a few of those weaknesses. Having said that, remember that the Philadelphia Phillies started this season 9-19. They fired manager Rob Thompson. They replaced him with Don Mattingly, and they are suddenly red hot. Now, obviously, this batting lineup does still have some serious punch. You've got Bryce Harper. You've got Brandon Marsh. You've got Trey Turner. And if you sleep on that lineup, no, they're going to take you out of the park a few times. Now, could I see the Phillies slip a bit and drop in the standings at literally any second? Sure. But I could also see them fortify that roster a little bit, fix a few holes, and stay in the hunt. Honestly, I think the pressure is on that front office in Philly. But I've got the Philadelphia Phillies at number 5. We go next to our number 4 team, and we're going to stay in that National League East because I would have had this team at maybe, 2 or 3 just a few weeks ago. But now they've hit a bit of a cool stretch. Hey, the Atlanta Braves went from having one of the most productive lineups in the first 2 months of the season to having like one of the worst lineups for the month of June. The Braves actually ranked last in the majors in runs, home runs, batting average, on-base percentage, and slugging percentage in June. Austin Riley had to be dropped to the bottom third of the lineup, and now Robert Suarez is banged up a little. Well, that creates a problem for that front office. Like I said, before the trade deadline, we know a lot of teams are going to be scrambling, trying to pick someone up. Should the Braves try to replace these struggling players? I mean, they're expensive. That starting pitching lineup is a major concern. But if the Braves can get healthy, if they could maybe pick up a pitcher, I still think Atlanta is going to be a problem. I've got the Atlanta Braves at number 4. But number 3, they seem to do this every few years, despite the fact that they rarely ever spend much money. But once again, the Tampa Bay Rays, they seem to be one of the top teams in Major League Baseball. And honestly, right now, they look like the best team in the American League. And it really doesn't look that close. Granted, this year the AL isn't exactly looking all that dominant just yet. But the Rays seem to be the class of that league. And like I said, once again, Tampa isn't really spending all that much money. Do you realize that the Tampa Bay Rays $102 million payroll ranks them 23rd in the league? So they're not spending much money. But as usual, they're spending it wisely because they've done their homework and they're getting the most bang for their buck. Junior Caminero has put this team on his back over the past few weeks. Honestly, he should probably be getting some MVP chatter right now based on what he's doing. The Rays are on top of the American League East right now. And while I would like to see a little more production out of that bullpen, Tampa Bay again looks pretty legit. I'm going to put them at number 3, but I would put them at number 1 in that American League. Okay, so let's move to our number 2 team. And our number 2 team is a team that I always love so much during the regular season. And then I like them way less when we get to the playoffs. But once again, the Milwaukee Brewers have been very dominant so far. And once again, the Brewers are having a lot of success. Why? It's obvious, because of their pitching. It seems like it's always their pitching. Their starters are phenomenal. The bullpen is at least solid. The defense is outstanding. And at least so far, the Brewers are getting solid play at the plate. Now, I know Brandon Woodruff is going to be on the shelf for a little while with a shoulder injury. We'll see how long that ends up being. But I think Milwaukee can overcome that. The National League Central looks like it's going to be competitive all year. So I don't think we're going to have a case where Milwaukee has such a big lead, they can just rest and coast. No, I think they're going to be pressed pretty much all season. Now, I also know once they hit the postseason, it seems like Milwaukee always slips up. But think about this for 1 second. What if, just if, the Milwaukee Brewers were able to make a trade and add, I don't know, say Detroit Tigers pitcher Tarek Skubal to this lineup that is already really, really impressive? Hey, it could happen. He could be going somewhere. He could be going to any of these top 5 teams. But if he goes to Milwaukee, you're going to have a tough time generating runs off of this lineup. I've got the Milwaukee Brewers at number 2 in all of Major League Baseball. We'll see if they can stay there. And of course, at number 1, we have the Los Angeles Dodgers again. Yes, they are spending a ton of money. Yes, they are going to be some of the reason that after this season, baseball could be going away for the foreseeable future. But once again, the Dodgers are just stacked, and they are stacked everywhere. You know what's crazy? The Dodgers went just 18-9 in the month of June. That's actually underwhelming for them. The problem for the rest of the league is it just doesn't matter. There is just too much organizational depth to keep this team down for very long. I mean, manager Dave Roberts is bizarrely probably underrated. We kind of forget about him. But hey, a lot of teams have talent. He's doing something with it. Tommy Edman is now back and playing well. Mookie Betts is playing phenomenal. Starting pitching, check. Bullpen, good enough. Defense, solid. And then the lineup, well, it looks like an all-star team. So here we are again. Despite some ups and downs at the player level, with the Dodgers still owning baseball's best record, they are on their way to a top overall seed in the postseason, where they will, in all probability, win a third straight title. And again, what if the Dodgers were to add Tarik Skubal? I mean, then everyone is just playing for second, as if they aren't playing for second already. And then after this season, we know baseball might be done for a while. A long while.
Let's just say that I don't have to worry about working for a while. A long while.
But we will keep an eye on how Major League Baseball continues to shape up as we go into the second half of our summer. Now, as we do so many weeks here at the Daily Dose, we need to get over to our Daily Dose Top 5. You know, we discussed earlier the Boston Celtics trading Jaylen Brown to Philadelphia for what certainly seems like, I don't know, a handful of magic beans compared to what they could have gotten. And you know, it isn't the first time we have seen a trade in the NBA that left us all kind of scratching our heads. Whether it is a team in trouble, a player that just demands to be out, or simply a front office that thinks they're smarter than they are, we have seen a number of terrible trades in the history of the NBA. And today, you know, I'm not even talking about just trading for draft picks, because there can actually be a certain amount of luck that is required for draft picks to work out. No. I'm talking about when you make a trade primarily for other players and you botch it. Today, our Daily Dose Top 5 is counting down the worst 5 trades in NBA history. Get ready for some bad ones. We start off at number 5. And this is a situation where a team was struggling, and so they decided, well, we've got to make a move. We go back to 1965, where the San Francisco Warriors were having a dreadful season. After going to the NBA Finals in 64, even though they lost, the bottom fell out in 65. And the Warriors would go just 17-63, despite the fact that Wilt Chamberlain was putting up insane numbers. In that terrible season, Chamberlain was averaging 39 points and 24 rebounds a game, but his Warriors were one of the worst teams in the league. And Wilt was not happy. So in spite of all that production, the Warriors decided, we're going to try to get something for him. They traded Wilt to Philadelphia for Connie Dirking, Paul Newman.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
No, not that guy. Lee Schaefer and some cash. None of those 3 players who went to San Francisco even impacted that franchise. They were all out of the league by 71. Meanwhile, Wilt went to Philly and won 3 straight MVPs and led the 76ers to a title in 67. But the San Francisco Warriors were desperate. They thought maybe they could flip their fortunes. Instead, they gave away one of the game's best players ever, and that trade comes in today at number 5. We move on to number 4. And we get to another trade that looks so bad on paper, but let me try to explain the reason for it. We go back to the year 1976, where the NBA was actually absorbing the ABA, and those ABA teams had to pay their newly established NBA entry fees and a big territorial indemnity fee. Well, some of the ABA teams simply didn't have that much money. Like, they're checking their couch cushions. It's not there. And such was the case for the New Jersey Nets. Now, bizarrely, the Nets were coming off of winning the ABA Finals over the Denver Nuggets. But like I said, the ABA just wasn't making much money. You didn't have TV contracts. So the Nets could not afford to pay beloved superstar forward Julius Dr. J. Irving. So they traded Doc to the Philadelphia Sixers. What did they get in return? Actually, they didn't get anyone. They got $3 million in cash, which they used to pay their league fees, and they shed that salary of Doc's. But the Nets have never won anything since. Look, I get it. They needed the money. They got some money. But the Nets torpedoed their own franchise in the process. They dealt Dr. J for cash, and they come in today at number 4. We arrive at number 3, and we go back to the year 1970. Oscar Robertson was in his early 30s, but it looked like he was kind of nearing the end of his career. Robertson had played his entire career for the Cincinnati Royals, but he wasn't very happy with Royals management. And when they named Bob Cousy the head coach, Robertson had seen enough. He actually held a 2-week holdout to protest the hiring near the end of the 69-70 season, and then he vetoed a trade when they wanted to trade him to the Washington Bullets. But then when the Royals got an offer from Milwaukee, Robertson okayed the deal in exchange for a guy named Charlie Polk and Flynn Robinson. And the move actually revitalized the Big O's career. He would go to Milwaukee, he would be paired up with a young superstar by the name of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and in his very first season in Milwaukee, alongside Kareem, the Bucks won the title. Charlie Polk, meanwhile, played just 2 seasons in the NBA after the trade. Flynn Robinson was a little better. He played 4 seasons. He averaged 10 points a game, but then he was gone. But of course, those two, even if you combine them, they didn't come close to the impact that Oscar Robertson had during his 4 seasons as a Buck. And that trade for Oscar Robertson comes in today at number 3. We reach number 2 on our list of worst trades in NBA history, where the trade didn't simply consist of future draft picks. And we get to a guy we just mentioned at number 3. Okay, so back in 1970, the Milwaukee Bucks, sorry Milwaukee, you land here again, the Bucks had drafted UCLA superstar big man Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Jabbar played 6 highly productive seasons in Milwaukee. He did bring them that championship in 71. He took them back to the finals in 73, even though they came up short. But Kareem wasn't happy in Milwaukee. He said he struggled with the lifestyle in the Midwest, and he demanded to be traded to either Los Angeles or New York. So on June 16th, 1975, the Milwaukee Bucks would trade Kareem and Walt Wesley to the Los Angeles Lakers in exchange for Elmore Smith, Brian Winters, and Junior Bridgman. 3 decent players. And to be honest, it didn't start out to look like that big of a steal. The Lakers went just 40-42 in Kareem's first season, but then he settled in, and then the Lakers drafted a kid out of Michigan State named Irvin Johnson, and then, as they say, the rest was history. Over the first 11 seasons after this trade, Kareem averaged 24 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 blocks per game. He ultimately would win 5 titles in LA. Meanwhile, it took Milwaukee 46 years to win their next title. Kareem, going from Milwaukee to Los Angeles, comes in today at number 2. So we reach the number 1 worst trade of all time, and this one is still pretty new. Because the trade that made no sense back in 2025, honestly, I think it makes even less sense now. The Dallas Mavericks traded Luka Doncic, a once-in-a-generation talent, for an aging Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick, which probably won't be that high. Yet, Luka had just proven he could lead the Mavs to the finals in 2024, and I know that the league manipulated the draft to try to make up for this disaster, and they let the Mavs select young star Cooper Flagg. Oops, sorry. I know the Mavericks just got incredibly lucky and were able to select young superstar Cooper Flagg in a completely coincidental and random happenstance, but it doesn't take away the fact that GM Nico Harrison thought he was outsmarting everyone, and he gave away Doncic for next to nothing. But here's the strangest part about it, is that he didn't even seem to send out feelers as to what he might get in return. He wanted to keep it all such a secret that he just dealt Luka quickly, and he got a very minimal deal. Now, will the Jaylen Brown deal go down as one of the worst in history? I suppose it has a chance, but we'll see if it actually turns out that way. Hey, next week on The Dose, we're going to have something very special for you for this time of year. It's going to be a little different, but trust me, I think you will enjoy it. So be sure you tune into The Dose and be sure you let a friend know to do the same. Hey, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for listening to The Daily Dose every week. Thank you for the emails, thank you for the texts, thank you for the tweets, but more than anything, thank you for sharing the show, for sharing the videos, and for sharing the articles with someone that you know. We absolutely love it when you do that. Have to say thank you to JSP. Could not do any of this without you. I will see you all next Wednesday. Have a great week, everybody.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.